I'm 34 now, and my love story kicked off 3 years ago. I started a new job as a sales manager at a trading company. It was just a job, lots of people, lots of responsibilities. But then I noticed a woman at work. Honestly, I was smitten from the first moment I saw her. It was one of those love at first sight moments. A few days later, I learned that she was my direct boss. At first, it was all just in my head. My feelings for her were completely platonic. I didn't let on that I liked her. She was stunning, both inside and out, incredibly intelligent with this magnetic charm that seemed to draw everyone in. She had this aura about her that made both men and women gravitate toward her. And in the workplace, she was all business. A true professional. She made decisions on her own, no questions asked. A woman with a mind of her own. One day, 4 months later, my boss approached me with a request. I heard that you are quite good at computers. My computer doesn't turn on at home. Could you come in and take a look sometime? I didn't hesitate for a second. I was more than happy to help. We set a time for Saturday, and I went to her house. When I arrived, she invited me into her 3-room apartment, introduced me to her 17-year-old daughter, and led me to a problematic computer. I quickly diagnosed the problem. A system failure. Reinstalled the operating system, and boom. Everything is working again. As a token of gratitude, she made me tea and gave me cookies. We chatted in the kitchen, mostly about work, while I couldn't resist stealing glances at her, lingering with my gaze so that it seemed to me that I was mentally undressing her. She was 13 years older than me and lived with her daughter in a cozy apartment. The family left a very positive impression on me. To be honest, I hadn't met anyone as cultured and intelligent in a long time, not even my own family. It felt refreshing, almost like a breath of fresh air. Going to work started to feel like a little celebration every day. After fixing my boss's computer, we grew closer. Whenever we had downtime at work, we would chat about all sorts of things. It felt effortless and lighthearted, and I realized I had really fallen for her, just like a teenager. It was mid-December, and with the New Year holidays approaching, we decided to throw a company party. I didn't want to miss it, and I'm glad I didn't. It was a blast, getting to know my new colleagues in such a warm and welcoming atmosphere, especially with some drinks involved. At some point, my boss and I found ourselves stepping away from the crowd. In the privacy of her office, something unexpected happened. We shared an intimate moment. And to be honest, it felt incredibly natural and right from the start. Afterward, I was on cloud 9. Things moved quickly after that. I became a regular visitor at her place. One afternoon, while we were sipping tea in her kitchen, she surprised me by telling me she loved me. Without hesitation, I told her the same. Our relationship blossomed, and I started to picture a future together. I believed this woman could be my wife, and I, her husband. She spoke poorly of her ex-husband, describing him as a worthless, alcoholic man. She shared that they had separated when their daughter turned 2. She went on to say that they tried to establish a relationship and lived together for a while, but eventually broke up again. Her daughter's biological father did not help in any way. He did not even bother to pay alimony. The girl didn't like him at all, and she despised him. She was also cold to me and didn't seem to pay attention to me, especially when I later found out that the boss had other men before me. But she never brought anyone home in the presence of her child. The men at work liked my boss. They always seemed to be there for her. There was something about her that attracted me. As I mentioned earlier, she was by no means weak, but she was sophisticated, cultured, and extremely perceptive. She graduated with honors from Yale University. I had a car, and one day my wife asked me to give her a ride home and wait, saying, "I need to tweak something." I dropped her off and waited for about 40 minutes at her house. I later found out that I had dropped her off at her ex-husband's house. He was drunk and started molesting her. This alerted me, and I immediately asked, "Why go to him and sort things out?" I didn't go into details, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Another year passed, And another situation arose. After work, she asked me to take her to her ex again to tighten the screws, and told me not to wait for her, but just go home. So I did as she asked and went back to my room. I called her that night, but she didn't answer the phone. I sent a message asking where she was, and she replied that she was not at home. The next day, I found out that she stayed the night with her ex. I was shocked. We argued about it, but she assured me that there was nothing between them. They slept in different beds. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't completely get rid of my doubts. After that, she started acting a little distant. For example, I would suggest that she take a walk after work, and she would come up with excuses like, "I can't, I have a headache," or "I need to clean up." In general, the relationship between us began to cool down. I tried to talk to her about it, but she said she was just tired at work and had a lot to do at home. Of course, the intimacy part of our relationship faded away, but it happened gradually. At first, we were intimate twice a week, then once a week, and eventually just once a month. I started asking her what was going on. She kept saying everything was fine, but then she dropped the bombshell that her ex-husband had supposedly asked her to get back together. I was stunned, but she reassured me, saying she would never get back with him, that their relationship was over a long time ago. I believed her. After that, everything completely fell apart between us. I became just a friend to her. In the last year of our fleeting marriage, we did not see each other for 3 or 4 months, but we did not file for divorce. She stopped letting me hug or kiss her, and intimacy was out of the question. Everything went wrong at work, too. I knew it was a dead end, but there was nothing I could do. She has always been the main thing in our relationship, as with other men in the past. Then, somehow, her phone ended up in my hands. After that, she made a grand scene by telling me, "Let's break up. You're young, so find someone your own age. I don't love you anymore. I don't have feelings for you." I worked hard to figure out what was going on, and eventually found out that she had been talking to her ex on the phone late at night for the past few months. It clarified everything about why we got divorced. She didn't make any personal claims against me. I still love her today and wish her nothing but happiness. I've learned valuable lessons from this experience, but that's where the story ends. I'm sure you'll agree with me that there were no great lessons for me in this. It's more of a shocking story than a meaningful one. I just wanted to share it with you. After all, how could a man over 30 not see something so obvious? To let a woman call herself your beloved and then take her to her ex-husband's house. Why? What was I thinking?